have this conversation now with Professor Ikechukwu, who is the Executive Director of Development Specs Academy, joins us from our Abuja studio. Prof, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, glad to be here. Thank you.
Good to have you. So, Prof, when we look at our journey, talking about the economy, pre-democracy, this dispensation that is, and where we are today, do we have more gains or more losses? Where do you stand?
We have more losses, very comprehensive losses. Starting from GDP, that's growth, our output, let's leave the technical jargon. Starting from the value of the national currency, starting from the value of the poverty rate, the number of people who have lost their jobs, and the number of businesses that have shut down, and also even the quality of the democracy itself. My view is that we've suffered substantial losses, but not that they are without gains, and not that there are no lessons from them. So my response to your question is, we have suffered more of losses than gains, more of painful lessons than ameliorating experiences. That's where we still are today.
But, Prof, would you say losses when we see, for instance, the population has grown? We're about 142 million. Now we're more than 100 million more. So when you put such reality side by side, would you still say that we have suffered more losses?
I'll still say so because, you know, the population did not grow last night. What you're talking about is the time we took to reevaluate what we thought was our population, and we realized it was 100 million more than we had in mind before. The indicators to look at is, look, what is your output? And we'll look at the precipitating factors. Before a democratic experience, you didn't have the kind of insurgency we have today. People were going to their farms and producing. People in Maiduguri were sending crops, cereal, sugar cane. The middle belt was in peace. Farmers were farming and bringing a lot of food. The same with every other part of the country. Today, the volume of food coming out from farming communities all over the country has declined. The level of poverty has risen. The level of security has also declined. So those are the key indicators. Instead of saying, oh, population, no. That population, even if it didn't exist, whatever population we had at a time, we had more manageable templates for handling them. You look at the number of people who are refugees today. They used to live in places. They were part of a social environment. Local government chairmen were in their local governments and carrying out their duties. If they got 10 million naira, it was expended there. Today, many local government chairmen, and I'm talking about very many of them in various parts of the country where there's insurgency and co, they get between 100 and sometimes 300 million in a month. Nothing happens, even before the refugees came. So there's no real local governance to drive all of that. You know, so those are the facts to look on the table. But the flip side is this. Does it mean government is not doing anything about it? No. Does it mean this government of today is responsible for all of this? No. It's a build-up of many factors, so that today we are trying to manage a bigger problem than we had before, and people with a short memory attribute it to those who are in charge today. That's part of the challenge on the table. That's my take on that.
So when would you say we missed it?
Unjustly, sorry?
I wanted to ask, why do you think, at what point do you think we missed it?
Actually, I don't think you've missed it at all. We are still progressing. You see, a nation in evolution cannot be measured with a nation that has acquired a certain level of stability. Even as we speak, even with all the suffering, even what's going on today, we have not missed it. It is lessons of the moment that will advise us on how to behave subsequently. If you think you voted for me because I gave you money and you vote for me again, you get the same result. So to say we missed it would be to assume that, oh, you know, the people are innocent, but the leaders are misleading us. No, we have not missed it. That's my view. We are working on it. We can't give up on us. So if you're going from Abuja now, from this studio, you're going to Lokoja, you drive on the airport road until you get to a place called Giri. If you turn left, you're going to Lokoja. If you turn right, you're going to Kaduna and Kano and Co. Now, the person who is on the road and turns left He's actually going to Lokoja as he planned, or he may meet bombs. He may even meet a riot. He may have a flat tire. That's part of what is involved in traveling. So the expectation of El Dorado from the morning, from day one, once a government comes in, first is mistaken. Second, governments also make mistake. The question is, when you make mistake, are you doing something about it? Are you being honest about it?
Are we being honest about it, Prof? Are we doing something about it? Are we being honest from your perspective?
From my perspective, there's certain greater honesty will be required. Because you see, when you make a mistake, it is human. When you then make a mistake and you're trying to paper it over, it becomes a problem. Are there explanations? Yes. Like, I think last week there was something, if you look at the political setting, for instance, you notice that the entire opposition is working very hard. But the hard work they are doing is inside their parlor. They are not telling us what their ideology will be or how they plan to win this election, because there isn't really much going on at the grassroots level. Last week, the APC in government that everybody is angry about had a forum where they came to work out how they are going to run their election. As we speak, they've secured 25 people per polling unit all over the country. So if tomorrow they win, with this narrative, if somebody might ask, okay, yeah, you're saying they did this and that, but at the time they told us they already set up committees, even at the polling booth level. What was the opposition doing? That's the kind of thing one would want to see. Because a lamentational approach to public issues and governance delivers no results. Oh, they have done this again, it is bad. I believe you. What do you intend to do differently? So, yes, there is hope. But that hope must be predicated on the fact of people getting up finally in 2027 to say, this is what I want going forward. It's not by lamentation, it's not by speech making. Right now, a lot of people, all the energies are expended in choosing candidates, etc. So let there be something tangible people can hold on to and say, well, even if it looks like this, on the basis of this, I find this believable. Those are some of the issues.
And you know, Prof, you talked about road bombs the other time, and it seems one big road bomb for Nigeria at this time is the issue of insecurity. We have our hearts broken, a lot of families. We saw a general buried yesterday. And some people have connected this, perhaps, because you did talk about not just crying about it, but doing something about it. Some people have connected this to the welfare of personnel. I wonder what you think about that.
There's the welfare of personnel. There's the question of local intelligence. There's the question of arms and ammunition. And there's the question of responsible civilian leadership. At the level of responsible civilian leadership, we have a challenge, and it doesn't matter which part of the country or which political party. There is not enough happening at the local level to absorb the people and challenge them economically and enable them earn a living. Now, at the level of local intelligence, if I'm posted to your community, I'm leading a battalion or a brigade of soldiers, I'm there to secure it, or I'm an inspector, a DIG, I'm there to secure you and your people. As I arrive from my home state in Katsina, I've never been to your village, I don't know anybody there. You who live there, you're in a position to tell me that there's this man or this woman who has not been part of us for so long, but for the last 5 weeks, he or she has been coming and going, and we don't know enough. Can you look into it? Now, I come in as a stranger to protect you. You give me no information, and you expect me to perform magic? Remember that by my training as a soldier, I face targets and eliminate them. Now, I've come into an environment where the enemy or the target is embedded in the community. It's now asymmetrical warfare. So I need your cooperation. Is that happening well enough? It isn't. That's number 2. Number 3, you find also that the army is overstretched. I keep emphasizing that because that's a more visible and active component of our national security today. Totally overstretched. Look at our land area. Ask yourself, how many officers does the NDA turn out in a year? How many soldiers do they turn out in the depots? There isn't enough. They are being overstretched. If anything goes wrong, you say, oh, create a new battalion. Are you inventing new human beings? No. Okay, let the service chiefs relocate to where the trouble is. Nobody does that since the history of humanity and warfare. Strategic leadership does not go to the theater. If you shoot the chief of army staff or any service chief, You've dismantled You've dismantled the platform for coordination that would drive operation and tactics. So our responses are often ad hocist. Yes, security is a core issue now. And the thing to put on the table is that it is no longer sufficient to be angry about it. A general, check throughout the history of modern warfare, find out how many generals died. The other day it was Brigadier General Oba and all of that, and now a retired officer who served well, whom I know personally, apprehended on the road like a chicken, held for how many weeks? Nothing happened. They were not afraid, knowing he's a retired general. And this is a nation with a commander-in-chief, with serving officers, with retired officers like him. How do you think everybody will be feeling? So it's okay to say that U.S. has come and helped us to kill the, what do you call him now, the deputy leader of ISIS. I think it was ISIS? Well, one of the ISWAP, I don't know which. But you must remove ornamental triumphs from the reality on the ground. What do we have to do with the head of ISIS or head of ISWAP or whoever? You're telling us you killed a lion in the forest. But my problem is that rats are coming into my chicken and eating up the fish. That's what the problem I want you to solve. Now, has anything happened with the death of that man? No, instead, insecurity is galloping. That is the worry. And in the midst of that, you see signs that also give you the impression they are made. And we're discrediting our military and security agencies. They are very efficient, they are very capable, but they're working in an environment that doesn't seem to have the right combination of variables to make them efficient. Those are the challenges. And so you find the civilian population is no longer too happy with them, but the civilian population also doesn't know enough. And when somebody says, oh, this huge sum was budgeted for security, I will agree. Question, how much of it has been released? In the instant case, as at 3 weeks ago, as far as I knew, only 7% have been released to the military. That's one. Two, if you mention the amount of money budgeted, please convert it to dollars and see whether it was up to what they were getting 6 years ago. So you're getting less to begin with, and people are talking about money, forgetting that military equipment is internationally denominated. If you're buying a rocket or a pattern, the price is international. If I give you 1 billion and you go to buy MRAP vehicles, you're going to buy about 9 of it or 8, and they say, oh, they spent 1 billion. If you're training anybody, you're using bullets. It is not what you recycle. So it involves continuous capital expenditure on, yes, you procure the arms and then you get ammunition. Are these things happening as they should? No. But the other thing to put on the table is that our local community is doing enough for their own security. Those are because it's come to the point where it has to be, look, it's either me or I do something or I'm gone. And I go back to a point I've made before. There used to be license for carrying the Mossberg, the pump action gun. It was withdrawn, I think, after the Matasina event in Kano more than 20 years ago. Gun licenses should be returned. Just like today, you have schools, driving schools that train drivers when they want to get a license. There should be, in each state, at least one gun training facility, one range, where people who buy gun, it's not like going to the shop, you're licensed, we know your means of livelihood, we know everything about you documented, you are assessed and, what do you call it, cleared to be somebody who can possess a gun. You buy the gun from official quarters, and then you go to a known government-designated range managed by somebody, and then you train, and you're certified that you can shoot well. Otherwise, people will just be killing themselves because they have guns. Those are the things to consider, because if I'm a robber and I know you have a gun, you've been trained on how to use it, I must monitor you very, very carefully before I take the risk of coming near where you are. Those are some of the issues. Yes, security is an obstacle on the way. It needs to be cleared. That's a fact, and I agree with you.
Yeah, and Prof, you talked about the army because they're the more visible, but of course we know it's supposed to be the police, and so turning our attention to them, it's like we hardly talk about the police these days when we are talking about internal security, and they're supposed to be at the fore of it. And some people have said perhaps it's their financial stability, their welfare, their pension. These are the discouraging factors to see the police as active as they should be in the internal security front.
Well, I don't think it's pension that's preventing them from doing their work. But the point to make is that the pension was always poor until recently. If you're going now, your gratuity is 200%, I think, of what you used to get. The pension itself, all of that has been, moved up. That's on the table. But I want to address the substantive issue of their effectiveness. The police force is in charge of internal security. If you take the population of Nigeria and you check the number of policemen we have, and you find out that for each policeman, he's supposed to be monitoring 200 people or more, you know that there's no police force. That's number one. Number two, how equipped are they? Number three, how much of the job of the police is not caused by the police itself, particularly senior and retired officer? What are they doing about the reputation of the force generally? You recall the advert, police is your friend, very fine TV production, high technical quality. Somebody comes, makes a report. There are soldiers, policemen there, very neatly dressed, and they quickly jump into a vehicle. You know that that is fiction. It's Nollywood in the name of government, because most stations don't have writing pad. The officers are not well dressed. You meet some of them, the regular police, you meet some of them at the checkpoint, and your suspicion is that they are not policemen because there are four, and three of them are wearing bathroom slippers. One is wearing a dark vest. But they are carrying guns. The Police Service Commission we also need to convince ourselves, at least me, that a Police Service Commission needs to remain in place. Why don't we have Army Service Commission, Navy, Naval Service Commission, etc.? The entire police state should be rejigged. But since right now we are speaking of, what do you call it now? What's the new policy now? State policing. I do hope and believe that some of these considerations will be brought into the new thinking. But the truth is that the army is constrained to come out because police is overwhelmed. Not because police doesn't want to do its work, but because it's simply overwhelmed. If you recall, during Jonathan's time, there was the call for the military to just withdraw generally. It was governors, I think 11 of them in the first instance, who went to meet the president and say, don't even think about it. If you withdraw them, we'll be overrun. And it's true. There's more fear of the army than of the police because of capacity and equipment. But the truth of what's happening is that by following that road, we're actually demobilizing the army. Because if I'm a soldier on the road, I'm not part of the regular discipline and drills. I will also be collecting money. Progressively, what has been drilled into me will be wearing out. And what you will then be seeing is a fighting force that's supposed to deal with external pressure, but has been kind of watered down by internal idle assignments. Because look, the military, the army, is not designed to arrest you and keep you in detention. The army exists to apply maximum force with no interest in picking up casualties to protect our sovereignty. That's why you can have a guard room, somebody misbehaves, you lock him up. It's the police that have cells that can expand for detention, trial, and all the rest of it. Now you pull out these people who live in specialized settings, barracks, training for the worst. You give them the job of internal security because there's a challenge in that regard. We are losing on both fronts. Police is not gaining the strength it needs. The army is being progressively demobilized. And so on all fronts, you see that the security forces appear not to be doing enough. But that's because they are given too much to do. And secondly, public confidence drops. And they are then unfairly assessed and unfairly stigmatized as not doing anything. That is not right.
Yeah, seems we have a whole lot to do to get out of where we are now when it comes to insecurity. But thank you so much, Professor Ikechukwu, Executive Director, Development Specs Academy, for your time and your views.
Thank you.
All right, now let's take a break in Business Morning. When we come back, we're still looking at the economy. Popular notion now is that we are stable and we're looking for growth. We'll hear what NESG has to say about that after the break. Please stay with us.